everybody, welcome back to another video here on my channel, and welcome if you've already been at the last two videos. My final reading vlog for the trilogy that involves Caraval, Legendary, and finally Finale. In this video we are going over Finale, my thoughts, me reading this book, and also of course the entire thoughts on the series. So far I've enjoyed the last two books with the 5 stars and 4.5 stars, so I'm hoping this book, I'm going to assume actually that this book is going to be a high 4 stars if not more. The other night when I finished Legendary, I actually hopped into this book because I needed to hop in right away, and I'm exactly at 50 pages, so I have to say so far I am enjoying this. This is both Tella and Scarlett's, not necessarily point of view, but switching back and forth following the characters, so I like that because in the second one it just kind of threw me off a little bit, all of a sudden being in Tella's point of view or following Tella. Also what happens at the end of book 2 continues in this book, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. I have a few ideas on how I think it's going to play out so far. I definitely feel like it's following the track that I'm thinking of. I really love the letters that are at the end of each of these books, and it started with this book. There's another letter in this book. I just feel like that's such a great little addition to books, and so far I have no complaints with it. Like I said, it's very engaging. I've been wanting to read. I've actually put off reading more than just these 50 pages for about a day or two because I needed to do the outro on the other book and the intro to this one so that I could go ahead and continue reading without reading 100-200 pages. That is one thing that I really want to get back to, is actually reading. I want to read a little bit today while sitting up in my little room up here in the little loft, and see if maybe before my husband gets home I can get around 100 pages because he's on his way home, so it'll only be about like 30 minutes or so, maybe 45 minutes that I get to read. Let's go ahead and hop into the reading. I feel like I'm always doing these clips at night, especially really late at night. Like as of right now, it's already past 11:49. It's almost midnight and I'm updating. I've messed up my sleep schedule once again, and now I won't be going to bed till 1 or 2 in the morning probably. Last time I updated, I do believe I was trying to get to around 100 pages before my husband came home, and I got around 80 pages. I did continue later on after my husband was home, and that later that night, reading until like 112, I do believe, is where I finally left off at. And I have a few things that I kind of thought about that I wanted to talk about, or just kind of addressed and put in here, kind of my thoughts, I guess I could say. First off is Donatella following somebody fairly, or actually not fairly, but really important in the story, following him to a witch's place, or to meet up with a witch. First off, how did she not get caught, for one? How did that person not know she was behind there? Because he always seems to know a lot, or he's always kind of in tune to a little bit. Like, I don't know if it's his suspicions or if he just always knows, but for whatever reason he just always figures stuff out, or at least has a feeling. Somehow she didn't get caught. I'm not 100% positive how she didn't, but also the whole, let's just say the meeting with the witch, how it all happened, especially because at the end of Legendary, since I said I had like those little notes that also were like handwritten from the author, from Stephanie Garber, she kind of like annotated a little portion of Legendary and then put it in the back of the book, at least the book that I had, and I was reading some of that, and she said something about she just for some reason has like not a full fascination with blood, but in the series it was just something that she wrote about, and let me just tell you that is 100% true. In every single one of these books there's something about blood, either drinking blood or passing blood along just to symbolize it's something that's kind of important. And in the meeting with this witch, the thing that happens with the blood, I'm kind of sitting here like, oh my gosh, we're only like, I think at the time it was like 60 or 70 pages in. Like, what is going on right now? I don't understand, one, her full fascination, but at the same time I can understand it, and then two, it's like where is this going? What is this story doing? Because I'm not saying I'm upset. I'm not saying I don't like it, because I'm very intrigued. I'm just kind of like, wait a minute. It's just kind of throwing me off, because it's just a random, well, it's not random, but it's just like an event that just blindsided me. There you go. I guess that's what I want to say. It's kind of like blindsided me a little bit. Secondly, we then go from Donatella's point of view to where we're following Scarlet. More so, there's something that happens where Julian's kind of gone for 5 weeks for some reason, let's just say, and pretty much he comes back. She's talking, messaging, sending letters, I guess, to another guy that's relevant. If you've read the story, then it all kind of connects. And there's that was a part where I was kind of like, if you're technically trying to date somebody, you shouldn't necessarily do something else, because it's kind of like cheating. And she was going to meet up with this other person, and when they got there, I don't know what was going on, if they were full-on jealousy or trying to prove themselves, but then all of a sudden Scarlet was like, you know what, we can make this into a little competition if you want. Whoever wants me needs to win me over. And I'm just kind of like, wow, that's another thing that just kind of blindsided me with her character a little bit. She was not like that in the first book. Yes, she kind of grew by the end of the first book. I don't know, this is not the same Scarlet that I read about in the first book, and also I just don't know how I fully feel about her character ever since the second book. I was so confused, for one, because I was thinking in my head, how long is this competition going to last? And also, is it going to last like the whole book, or is it just for one night? And then when her and Julian left and they were out venturing on their own, I think they were coming home if I remember correctly, and then they stumbled across a family that was petrified. I do believe in the middle of the woods too. That's the type of stuff where I'm like, it's event after event after event that I'm reading, and I know I kind of read more at night, and then I will be super busy during the day, and when I hop back in the story, I try and remember everything that I read. But there's so many events that keep happening that it's kind of blindsiding me, because also it makes sense how with the people who were petrified, I liked everything with like the notes and how they are connected to the fates, and now we are getting more into how the fates are being controlled, or who's controlling them, or how to maybe go about necessarily getting rid of them, I guess you could say. I think the major thing is I'm just trying to follow along, because there has been so much happening in this book for sure, and I have been enjoying a lot of it, every single bit of it actually. And I do like how we're both getting both Donatella and Scarlet, following along with both of them, and so far I'm actually really intrigued on more, for some reason, Donatella's point of view more than Scarlet's. If you've watched my last video, I started off with the second book. I was a little bit confused. I wasn't upset, but since we were following Scarlet, I really wanted to stick with Scarlet, and now all of a sudden I could care kind of less about Scarlet. She's not my favorite character anymore, and I feel like this whole storyline, plot line between, I'll just say, Donatella and 2 other people are actually, it's intriguing me a lot. Very happy to keep reading, also because there is somebody who was at the end of the last book who is supposed to be waking up soon. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm gonna sit up here, and then I might go downstairs with my husband because he's playing games. And I just wanted to do a small little update and also say that, hey, it might be super late, but I need to record because I want to continue reading, and I would like to try and hit maybe 150 pages tonight. I'm sorry, tell me how the person that they saved at the end of the second one decides to wake up, or she ends up waking up. She tricks Donatella. She leaves a note while Donatella is getting her something, like food, let's say, and then she hightails it to try and go do something, her own little mission, after she basically left a note, lied, and told them not to go find her. And then somehow she was stupid enough to, let's just say, get hurt. What is going on here? I'm not gonna say I'm not mad about it, because I'm kind of glad that a character wasn't brought in, like fully brought in, and then continued to stay in. I kind of like how she was brought in just to be taken out, let's just say. But again, with the event after event happening, what is going on here? And then the other thing that happened is during this whole situation when that said person was off doing something, and since Donatella ended up finding her and then following her, and then she was trying to warn Donatella to basically leave, don't stay here, don't follow, don't do this, blah blah blah. Let's just say she basically paralyzed Donatella, and so she was there, she couldn't move, and then somebody comes in and saves Tella, and he picks her up, and he's taking taken care of, but she is so heartbroken about something that happens to said person, you know? And then he decides, oh, here, because I'm the Prince of Hearts, I don't have my full powers, but I can take away some of your pain. Basically, by just kissing me, I can take some of your hurt away. Or instead, again with the blood situation, since she doesn't want to kiss him because of something else that happened in the beginning of the last book, she's like, is there another way? And he's like, sure, of course, there's this blood way where if we both slice each other's hands and basically hold hands together and eventually we'll have to kiss again no matter what, that seals the deal and I can take some of your pain. Obviously, I feel like there's always, you know, a lie and there's always a second thing to that, but whatever, she did it, sure, whatever, he saved her and then they did that. And then she wakes up, and not to mention after she wakes up, then all of a sudden she tries to go back home or where they're staying at, and she gets taken into, let's just say, a dungeon, because it's not fully like she was in prison, she wasn't totally under arrest, but she now has to go then talk to certain people, and then she has to recount everything, why she was gone, why she was missing, where is so-and-so, what happened to so-and-so, tell me, give me your secrets, don't hold anything in, etc, etc. And now Tella and a certain somebody that she likes is having a one-on-one conversation, and basically he then says, oh, by the way, your old rooms while we were, you know, working and doing the whole Caraval, well, not Caraval, but the actual game, they were in specific rooms, and those rooms, technically, since he's the heir, is still available to them if they want it. And then he turns around and we end out the whole chapter because he says, well, I never really wanted you to leave. Okay, I don't know who to vote for Tella. I don't know which person to vote for because I am so confused on where I stand. The guy she just talked to at the very end of that chapter, I vote more for yes. But is it gonna work out that way? That's what I keep thinking about in my mind. Is it gonna work out that way? I don't know. I really don't know. I just had to update one more time. I'm going downstairs now to read with my husband. Again, like, what is going on? Why is Scarlett all of a sudden mad at Julian for no reason? And apparently her vision's filled with black. What is going on? What now is happening? Sorry. I'm glad you're having fun. Now, if you could do that in real life. I like this part. Either she's not there or she's not answering, Armando says. I didn't ask for your opinion, Tella says. Tella knocked again, just to be obnoxious. Tella's being dumb again. Thank goodness I'm almost to 150 pages. I'm getting exhausted. I have 4 pages left, and I'm pretty sure something bad is going to happen because the main character, or the character that we're following right now, is doing something kind of stupid when she was told not to, and then she evaded her bodyguard. Great. If I learned anything from books like this, first off, Throne of Betrayal by Brianna Wilson. That book, when the main character did something she wasn't supposed to and she almost got killed, and then the male person in the book had to go kill for her or kills people to go save her. What if that was this book too? Because I kind of like that in Throne of Betrayal. Weakness. But in a way, I wish so-and-so could technically love another person. Like a happy ever after. And maybe we'll get that, but as of right now. And on that note, as much as I'm intrigued, I am exhausted and I think I should go to bed. Hi, I want to do a little update or a small update on Finale. I have not read that much. I also have not read in the last couple days. It's not because I haven't loved this book. It's just because we've been so busy. This morning I did wake up and read just about 10 pages. I started on page 164 and I ended on page 177, 176. And I have to say there's a few things that I wanted to go over in that 10 pages with y'all. First off, before I even get into that, today is July 29th. I wanted to have this book finished and also completed before the 1st of August because I wanted to have read the entire trilogy in July. Normally I used to read like 5 to maybe 8 books, but since moving, since being busy, since doing a lot of other stuff, it's hard for me to even read 2 books and finish them in a month. With that being said, like I said, it's the 29th. I'm on page 176 out of page pretty much 500. It's 470 pages, I do believe, and we have 3 days to finish that. So I'm going to be trying, even though we're still very busy, to be reading 50 to 100 at least every single night. Hopefully I can finish this book before August. That was my little side note. But getting into what I wanted to talk about. First off, on page 164, we have Tella, who actually is in like this hallway, I do believe, and she comes across 2 servants who are talking badly about her. And then out of the blue, Dante steps out into the open and he tries to save her image. And in doing so, he kind of like ruins his a little, not a lot, not really bad, but just kind of shows weakness, I guess you could say. And it's one of those that, hey, it's kind of out of the blue, but we love to see it. There's got to be something going on. It's almost too good to be true type feeling, but whatever. And there's also one thing that I wanted to quote. So on page 165, like I said, since Dante is talking to the 2 servants, he says, "You two should keep that in mind the next time you decide to spread rumors, or you might find yourself in a prison as well." And I don't know why, but I was like, oh, snap. Okay. Literally, we're on this page, 164, 165. I finished this page and I flipped to here. Right about here, we get to where all of a sudden there's another person who comes in. It's Jax. If you know, you know. That's 2 people, and I'm like, either stuff's going down right now, or this isn't, like I said, it's too good to be true, so something's going on. And I was correct about one of those theories, let's just say. And then the last thing I wanted to read to you, I'm not going to tell the names, that way it's not spoilerish, hopefully. I can't show it either, just in case so you don't pick up on the names, but if you know, you know. There's a note that was given to a certain person, and it says, "Last night might have been a dream, but I meant what I said about wanting you. I'm done playing games with you. If you feel the same, find me in the midnight maze tonight, and I'll give you your prize." Okay, mysterious. There's definitely something going on, because I feel like Stephanie Garber has not written where it is too good to be true. She's not gonna write it like, oh, they're just gonna meet, they're gonna fall in love, that's gonna be the end of the book. I do have a few suspicions at the end of the book because there are a few things revolving, I'm just gonna say like the star, and how I think 2 people might get together because of, how do I want to put that? 2 people might get together because of one person not being immortal no more, I guess, if that makes sense. Or one person not being mortal, being mortal. Yeah, I feel like for future things, there's going to be a lot of blindsided things that are going to be happening in the next, especially 50 pages, because we then changed parts in about 30 pages. At 192, we then all of a sudden changed parts, I'm going to say to part 2, which is called The Middle. So I'm excited. I tried reading to that point a few days ago when I last read, and I did not make it there. I was like 30 pages shy. So I'd like to at least read there. Of course, I'm going to try and make it to page 300 tonight. Maybe. That's like 140 pages, and I don't know what's going on. I already got 10 down though. I don't want to rush it, but at the same time, I'm honestly kind of ready to do the finale of the series, wrap it up, rate this book, and then move on to a whole nother one. I just think this was a really great series, and so far this book is really great as well, but I'm also ready to just move on from it since we are getting into a new month. I just made it to page 196, and right before we got to part 2, or what I say part 2, the middle. Oh my goodness, I knew technically that we were going to be having a lot of like uphill things and downhill things, just because obviously we have like 300 pages or more left of the book. One thing I didn't see was when we were in Scarlett's point of view, we jumped back to following Scarlett, and at the end of that, I wondered, because of this last book, technically the end of the first book and also all of the second book, we didn't have mention pretty much of one character in specific, and it's not like they died. It's not like anything really happened to them, so I was wondering if they would make a comeback again. But I just feel like it really made for a good plot line to bring him back and also to make him more of a character to be feared, I guess. I don't know 100% what's all happening yet because I obviously haven't read that far, but oh my goodness, that end of that point of view was pretty good, in my opinion at least in this moment. And then secondly, right after that, we jump to Tella's point of view, or we follow Tella, and then all of a sudden she has all this happening with her and a certain somebody. Some people show up and trouble breaks loose. So now we're really into, now since we're in part 2, the middle, now we're getting into a lot more problems, more conflict, I guess you could say, or more plot lines that are actually really good right now, and I'm really intrigued right now. But I have to go take some thumbnail photos. I read a few more pages, which is great. I'm almost to page 200, which is also great, but I also still have stuff to do today, and we just got back not too long ago from running around and grabbing some stuff. Page 206, and I just have this little theory. I'm not 100% correct. I don't think I'm going to be 100% correct. I feel like they might have different fathers. Between their physical features, what we know about their mother, everything like that, it just kind of makes sense. But I don't think that theory is correct, but it would also kind of make sense a little bit. Made it to chapter 27, which is page 212, and yes, that's all I'm gonna say is yes. We are back home, and I only have about 20 pages before I hit my first goal at 250 pages, which is perfect. First, I forgot to update. I made it to 250. I'm actually at 262. Secondly, when Tella was inside of the market in the tent, and then somebody ended up showing up, and she was trying to retrieve a secret, and also there was a little bit of like future predictions, or not so much predictions, but the two sisters ended up seeing Tella in the future and telling her a little bit about the future, and then I guess the things that they were talking about. I feel like I definitely know how this book is going to end, at least between people-wise. The other thing I want to talk about is I just ended the chapter on 262, so they just got out, these two people, Tella and somebody else, just got out of the tents, the markets, and they are headed, I think, to the spice quarter if I remember correctly. All of a sudden there's somebody there waiting for them. That's fun, I guess. How is this entire family, or more so the females in this entire family, somehow the main love interest? Hello? What just happened? I think I'm confused on why Tella did what she did, and also why the things that she said to the person that she did, why at the end of that he basically was like, well, if that's true, Donatella, then we both failed at getting what we wanted, and before she could reply, he was gone. What just happened? I feel like this came not necessarily out of nowhere, but just like, make up your mind almost. Also, I almost have just 20 pages. I have about 24 pages left, and I am starting to feel so exhausted. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting bags under my eyes, and I am struggling not to yawn. Did it! Page 302. Thank goodness I finally got there. It is 2 minutes past midnight, so I technically did it since I haven't went to bed in this day. Just wanted to love you.
I'm sorry, Molly. I didn't know you were coming up, but clawed the crap out of my way.
But otherwise, I'm so happy I finished and read to page 300. So now we only have 100, and technically it's like 169 pages left. Hi, we're actually down in Winchester, Kentucky. We just drove a little bit, and I don't remember when I last left off, but yesterday was the 30th. I was supposed to read, and I did not get very far at all. I think I read like 3 pages or so. Maybe. It wasn't very much. I think I left off at 302 the last time, on the 29th, the night of the 29th. I just read a little bit. My husband and I were talking and jamming out, so it wasn't too much, but I read a little bit, and I'm on page 326, and we're about 45 minutes or so away from home. So I'm gonna try and read and catch up and try and finish this book today. Sorry if the air conditioning unit is a little bit loud. It's across the little pathway for me, but I'm sitting outside. I'm on page 354 of finale. I'm going to try and sit out here before it rains. It's also been thunderstorming off and on, but I want to try and get really close to finishing this book. I want to at least try and sit out here until page 400 or so, and I just want to turn around the camera and show you basically how I'm sitting on this little in-between deck, I like to call it, or in-between porch, because there's a covered porch with the cistern right here with this door, and then there's the actual covered porch that that was a back deck once upon a time and now it's enclosed. So let me show you real quick. It's getting actually really dark here and it's starting to cool down a lot. It's very humid right now, like it's about to storm. But the star, I'm just like calling him the star, has so many emotions, and yet at the same time at the end of that part that I just read, I was 99% positive, and I'm not going to spoil this fully, but the person that Legend once met in book, I do believe it was the last book, maybe the beginning of this book, I'm pretty sure it's the end of the last book. That person that he met up with in like a shack or a cabin or something is the person who was with the star. I want to say that. That's my theory, and I'm 90% positive, but I'm not fully. I think I've just seen a little bit of lightning. The good thing is I'm almost to page 270. I take that back. I don't think you can see it on camera or even hear it because of the air conditioning unit turned back on, but it's getting ready to rain. It is actually physically raining right now. Just a light drizzle, and I don't know if this roof will fully protect me or not because I feel like it's going to downpour in a couple minutes. I'm not gonna lie, we're seeming a little bit more like tornado weather right now with the clouds moving so fast. Man, I miss being in a state that actually has tornadoes and thunderstorms. This is so much fun. I interrupt my little reading vlog to give you the weather report because this is so much fun. First off, I don't know if you can tell, I think it's windy out. Secondly, I think it's supposed to rain or is currently raining. And now that the storm's gone, it's almost 8 p.m. It's 7:42 and it is bright and shiny and very beautiful outside. You can run, but you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. Oh snap, Scarlet getting used by somebody important in her life, I'm gonna say. But really he's not important, besides that he's a bad character, I guess. I did it. I finally finished the finale. Last night, since technically it was the 31st, I tried staying up. I think I stayed up till like 1 or 2 a.m. reading, and I ended up falling asleep. I put the book down, went to bed for a few hours, and then I woke up at 4:30 and came upstairs to go to sleep. And I had about 50 pages left. I tried so hard and I just didn't get that far. Today, I ended up finishing it on the 1st of August. Just literally got done with it. And I have to say, this is a 4-star read. I love the first book the most. It was 5 stars. I just felt like because the whole introduction of Caraval was just so magical that I could feel it, I could see it. For whatever reason, I was watching it in my head. I was watching a movie, so that was 5 stars. The next book was really good, but it just wasn't as good. It wasn't the same feeling, so I gave 4 stars. This book is better than the last book, in my opinion. I think it was a great way to end off the entire trilogy. I'm sad that we're done with the trilogy. I like the things. I called a lot of things in my head, and also I think in this vlog that might have happened, but overall, I'm just so happy happy that 470 pages went by and I enjoyed pretty much every single page of it. I was excited to read this book, and I even put it down for a few days and was able to jump back into it for the most part. I think there was a few times where I was just kind of like, oh, I feel like this book in particular is dragging on. But overall, like I said, I am so incredibly happy that I found this series, I read the series, and I ended up loving the series. I want to thank y'all for watching this video. If you haven't seen parts 1 through, I'm going to say parts 1 through 2, it's basically my reading vlog for Caraval and also Legendary. Back on my channel, I posted those videos right before this video. I wanted to post all 3 of these videos back to back on my channel. So if you're curious about those, if you haven't watched those, go back and watch those if you want to. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope to see you in another video here on my channel, and God bless.